Eliminate 3 dangers that cause retirees to outlive their money. In this episode, I'm going to address the question, why do people outlive their money? Get ready, it's not what you think. So, I'm Doug Andrew. I've been a retirement planning specialist now for more than 4.5 decades. And I've noticed many people, especially in America, are headed to outlive their money, or I've actually sadly witnessed many people outlive their money, and then they have to rely on Social Security, charity, welfare, or their children for support. They never thought that would happen to them. So I've studied why that happens and what causes most retirees to outlive their money. And it narrows down to 3 big dangers. Before I share those with you, I want to use a metaphor right now between a battery approach and a generator. Now, before doing so, if this is intriguing you already, share this YouTube video with anybody who is worried about possibly outliving their money, especially when you hear why people actually do run out of money. I've noticed that a lot of financial advisors try to charge up a retirement battery, so to speak, for their clients. And so they have their IRAs and 401ks invested in the market, and they're trying to get enough money or charge up that battery so it hopefully won't go dead or die before you do. Well, it's not lasting because there are 3 big things that short out that battery, that burn out and run out the juice. And so I've loved helping people create a generator type of an approach instead of a battery that will generate income and wealth for as long as you live. I don't care if you live to be 120. If you can earn predictable rates of return and eliminate the 3 dangers that causes people to outlive their money, you will not have to worry about your retirement battery. In fact, you can have a generator that will generate wealth into perpetuity for generations to come. That's why I love the word generator, because this is more than just about you and your spouse. This is for your posterity, to be able to preserve that wealth that you've worked on, to pass down to future generations, to bless many more lives. Unfortunately, a lot of retirees don't have any money to leave behind because 3 big dangers cause all that money to disappear. So what are they? Are you ready? As I've watched Americans accumulate sometimes $1 million, $2 million or more, why do they run out of money? The first big danger is rising taxes. And frankly, right now, we are going to see taxes go to, I think, all-time highs. And I don't need to beat the subject to death. I have other episodes on this channel that talk about irresponsible government spending, stimulus, spending twice as much as the government brings in revenue. Those initiatives would cause the government to have 3 times the revenue than they currently bring in. And most Americans already pay between 25 to 33% of their income in taxes between federal and state tax, especially retirees. And so taxes continue to go up, and this is what erodes away so many people's nest eggs. Let me give you a quick example. Let's say you accumulated $1 million nest egg. And if you don't have $1 million, that's okay. You can extrapolate from my example if you have 500,000 or if you have 10 million. But let's say you worked your entire lifetime and saved $1 million. And let's say you're fortunate enough to be able to earn 10%. Do you know that most retirees are not earning 10%? If their money is in traditional IRAs and 401ks in the market, the average person only earns 3.49%. Did you know that? That's why the financial services industry only wants you to pull out 4% a year, which would be pretty pathetic. That means on $1 million nest egg, you'd only have $40,000 a year of income, and you pay tax Even at 25%, that's 10 grand on the 40 grand of income, you're only netting 3% or 30,000. That's pretty ridiculous. I want to empower you to have at least triple that, to have a 9% payout, 90,000 a year instead of 30,000 a year. But I want you to have 90,000 tax-free, okay? This is accomplished through one of my favorite instruments, which I call the laser fund, because it eliminates these dangers. The first one, rising taxes. If you convert your serious cash to tax-free vehicles, it doesn't matter what taxes go to because it doesn't affect you. If taxes go to 40, 50, 60, 70%, you're okay, you're immune because your account is totally tax-free. It's a sacred cow in the Internal Revenue Code, and that's what you have in the laser fund. It's been around for over a century as a sacred tax-free cash cow. And I'll explain more why, and you can read about it in my book that I'm going to gift you at the end of this episode. So taxes cause people to have to pull out more money. Let's say that you needed a net of $50,000 to buy gas and groceries. Well, you're going to have to pull out $75,000 out of an IRA or 401k to net $50,000 because you have to pay a third of it in tax. Most Americans pay federal tax, plus 41 out of 50 states has a state income tax. So you pull out $75,000 to net $50,000. Well, the next big danger is inflation. So when we add inflation on top of tax, now you pull out $75,000 before tax to net $50,000. But in about 7 to 10 years, at the current rates of inflation, you're going to need to have $100,000 to buy the same gallons of gas and loaves of bread that you used to buy for $50,000. So you need $100,000. In a 33% bracket, you have to pull out 50% more. You have to pull out $150,000 now, pay tax of a third, 50, to net $100,000. If you're earning 10%, that $1 million nest egg will be gone, drained dry in 11 years. You'll be out of money. $1 million down the drain, okay? Because you had to pull out 150 to net 100. Now, in my favorite vehicle, the laser fund, I only have to pull out 100,000 to net 100,000. And I have actually earned 10%, very predictably. Most people who have money in IRAs and 401ks in the market are not earning 10. I'm just giving them the benefit of the doubt if they could. If I have money that is totally tax-free and I pull out 100,000 and I net 100,000, I still have my $1 million nest egg in 11 years when most Americans are now out of money because they had to pull out 50% more to have the same net spendable income. Does that make sense? Most baby boomer couples, one of the husband or the wife will make it to about age 96. Did you know that? The fastest growing segment of American society today are those people reaching over the age of 100. If you or your spouse lives to age 96, you've had to rely on Social Security, welfare, charity, or your children for support if your nest egg ran out at age 76. That's a traditional IRA or 401k. With the laser fund, you'd still be taking $100,000 a year of tax-free income. You'd still have your $1 million. That's an extra 20 years of $100,000 a year. That's $2 million, and you still have your $1 million. That's a $3 million better retirement nest egg than the exact same amount of money in an IRA or 401k that didn't even last 11 years because of taxes and inflation. What's the third danger? It's market volatility. Because of what's going on with the government spending money and so forth, we're going to have recessions. The market's going to whipsaw. It's not a matter of if, it's when it's going to happen. And that is what caused so many people to put off retirement and outlive their money in 2000 to 2012, where people saw their retirement nest eggs drop 40% twice in that decade. $1 million nest egg went down to 600,000 from 2001 to 2003. It took 4 years to make it back. And then in 2008, it dropped 40% again. It took 4 years till 2012 just to come back to break even. Inflation had taken its toll on that million. People using indexing in the laser fund, their million doubled and even tripled in that 12-year period. Tax-free. Are you getting curious? What is this laser fund? Well, the reason why I like it is because it eliminates these big dangers here: taxes, inflation, and market volatility. How does it do that? Because the laser fund actually is tax-free, because you're converting to tax-free vehicles. You're linking your returns to the things that inflate. I don't like inflation any more than you probably do, but it doesn't hurt me. I've always earned a rate of return equal to or greater than the inflation rate, usually 5.5% higher than the inflation rate at any given time. In 1980, when inflation was 10, I was earning 15.5. And you use indexing for safety of principal. Your money is never lost due to market volatility. You don't lose when the markets go down, but you make money when it goes up. That's a strategy called indexing that is very proprietary to max-funded indexed universal life. Why do I call it the laser fund? Because the three greatest strengths of indexed universal life is liquidity, the ability to access your money when you need it. Safety of principal. Whatever I set aside, I want to protect. Any year I make money, I want that to become newly protected principal. I don't want to ever lose in the future money that I've made in the past. If your money's in the market, there's no way you can accomplish that. And then number 3 is to be able to get predictable rates of return, not pie in the sky rates of return of 20 and 30% average. No, there's years you will make that, but there's years where you don't lose. And Will Rogers once said, people get more concerned about the return of their money when things are bad instead of the return on their money. And so this is liquidity, safety, and rate of return. It spells an acronym, LSRR. I just make an acronym, LASER, laser. So I call it the laser fund, which means liquid assets safely earning returns. Would you like to read more? Would you like to study? Would you like to empower yourself to eliminate these dangers? Here's how you can learn more. So I mentioned I wanted to gift you a free copy of my most recent best-selling book. It's called The Laser Fund. It's 300 pages. Now, it's actually 2 books in one. You see the white one here and the cream one? See, this one is about 200 pages, 14 chapters, and it has all the charts and the graphs for the left brain thinkers, the engineers. If you're more of a right brain thinker, you learn by stories and examples. You flip the book over to this one. And this is about 100 pages, 12 chapters with 62 chicken soup for the financial soul stories of how the laser fund is like the dream solution for retirement, college funding for your kids and grandkids, working capital for business, emergency funds. But it's because it has liquidity, safety, and predictable rates of return, and it's tax-free to boot. It eliminates the dangers of taxes, inflation, and market volatility. So how do you get your free copy? Go to laserfund.com, LASER fund.com, or click below. You contribute a nominal amount towards the shipping and handling. I'll cover the rest of that cost, and I'll pay for the book. I'll fire out a copy to you, but explore in that site other ways to listen and learn, watch and learn. There's even an 18-hour masterclass taught by me and my 2 sons who were co-authors of this book. I am passionate about empowering you and educating you so that you can have a brighter future and not outlive your money.